I'm back! Finished. Well, I haven't finished everything, but I finished enough that I can have a fucking break. So, hi, I've been gone for 3 weeks, and I looked at the most recent video, and it had 104 views. Now, whilst that's fine, that is also terrifying. Because where the fuck did 104 people come from? Okay? Let me make this abundantly clear. The only reason I'm doing this is because Lom, my very, very good friend, and asked me to. And so where is what? 104 people. That's too many. Now, I understand that Lom is non-binary, but I don't, and I understand that people get confused with the whole they/them not being multiple people. But I'm fairly certain that Lom does not constitute 104 fucking people. So that's just. Also, apologies if the sound quality is really shit, or it sounds like you're in a tornado. This is a lone computer because my one decided to break, and it has a tendency to sound like it's about to set off. So we will see how long I'm capable of just watching like this. And we'll see if anyone shows up. I honestly doubt that anyone will show up, even the anonymous watcher, because honestly, it's been a long time. And whilst I did warn that I wouldn't be here for a while, I doubt that they're going to happen to be on at this time. But anyway, as the description suggested, today, so excited for this. I am going to be making this. This is the box. I got it from Tiger. It was £18 because you know what? I deserve a fucking treat. Okay, I'm tired. I'm tired. I've been saving up my episodes. I have at least 15 under my belt. So, you know, I've earned this. So we are going to make this, and we're going to listen to the Magnus Archives whilst I make it. And it has been so long since I listened to the Magnus to Magnus Archive. It's weird being back. And I know that sounds so stupid to say but I suppose it's because my brain has been in so many other places that I'm like, you know, obviously it's just really weird for me. Anyway, big stretch. Oh, sweet Jesus. And this is what we're going to be doing. Very exciting. So apparently, according to my podcast app, the last thing we listened to was Nothing Besides Remains, and I cannot be bothered to verify that. So we're just going to go ahead and assume that is the last thing I watched. Oh, God. The next one's called Contaminant, and okay. It's been a minute. I'm fairly certain where we left off was Daisy tried to murder John. John was like, I don't know what's going on, please stop. And Daisy was like, I know you're not human. He was like, what? He was like, please help me. But Basara showed up, was like, Daisy, Daisy, I love you, but like, and I understand that wives need hobbies, but please stop. Please. They then went to confront what's the name? Elias, to be like, yo, did you murder strange old guy who was in the archives for some fucking reason? And he was like, uh-huh. And then he was like, oh, by the way, go get everyone else. I think everyone else should hear this too. And so everyone showed up, which included Angie Tim, Anxious Martin, and generally unsatisfied Melanie. At which point Elias then professed his double murder, and basically was like, yes, John is not crazy. Never was, by the way. Could have cleared this up ages ago, but I didn't, so oops. And Basara now works for the Magnus Institute. John is now back and has been told that he needs to do something to do with the unknowing. And I'm pretty sure that's where we left off. So I really hope I get the AI ad. I've missed him.
What to give Colin?
No, AI.
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archive.
Oh, John, I've missed your voice. Jonathan Sims. You.
Episode 93. Contaminant.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be here. And you know what I'm also happy about is the fact that currently the view count is at 0, because it's really disconcerting when I actually know people are watching me. Although I do miss Maria. I hope Maria, if you're ever watching this, I remember you. I hope you're okay. I miss you. And I hope everything's going well wherever the fuck you are. Anyway, hopefully the volume is okay.
Statement of regarding the cleaning.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add in my recap. John is fucking tired. I forgot how broken this man was. Jesus. Statement of so fucking hell. This man has no. Jesus.
Habits of his father. Right.
Yes! Ah! Yes! Lon told me I wouldn't hear the Admiral. I heard the Admiral. Yes! I cannot express how excited that makes me. Oh my god. Yeah, boys. The Admiral! Sorry. I'm very excited. You have to understand. I'm currently not on medication. I haven't listened because you went between streams. I'm not listening to this. I make 0 progress in the listening of this. It all happens here. So I'm very excited. Admiral! Hi, baby boy.
Statement of Lester Chang regarding the cleaning habits of his father. Right. Hello, Admiral. How have you been? Yeah, I've missed you too. I'm trying to find you on a belly rub or wrong hand, cat, wrong hand. Sorry, Admiral. It's been a hard few days. Hope I haven't upset Georgie too much. How can she be mad? She's got you. Yep, that's your ass. Thanks for that. Look, I know I love you too, but you can't get off my lap back. I kind of need to. Okay. Belly rubs. You don't have to worry about all this stuff, do you? Bit over your head, I guess. Bet the world ends and you do just fine. Oh, fine. You done? Okay. Statement of Lester Chang.
My heart is so full. I might actually cry. And I'm so oh my god, I'm actually gonna cry. What the fuck? I didn't know I needed that. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. That is so pathetic. I can't believe that made me cry. I'm so... You know, I didn't realize how much I'd missed this. Because I've now gotten into the habit of between streams, I'm not watching it. So it's not like I miss it, except if it's like I'm going to stream. And because it's like I'm not allowed to stream unless I've done enough work to justify the screen, the scream, then I don't get to listen to it. It's essentially like I have to achieve this thing to be able to do this thing to be able to do this thing. So can't listen to Magnus Archives without streaming. No, it's I can't listen to Magnus Archives unless I'm streaming, and I can't stream unless I've done enough work to justify streaming. So it's like I have to do this chain of events, and so it's like I kind of forget how much I fucking love this between streams when the streams are really late, like spread out like this. And I knew I was going to not be able to do, and to be honest, I probably won't be able to stream again for a little while. I will try and do shorter ones, just so I can keep my sanity. But essentially, I am on I'm at sicko mode because I'm trying to get my work done as fast as possible so that I can actually see Lon when they're around. So, you know, priorities. But I can't believe I just cried at that. I think honestly it was just because that was so... Oh, John. John, you're breaking my heart, man. You're at... Oh. Damn. Let's move. No, can you still see me? I don't know, because the camera is like covering my face. So I can't tell if you can actually... Yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Ooh, maybe if I do like that, and now I'm in the middle. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can just about see my eyes. That's fine. Don't turn off, you little shit. Plus, I just need to hunch. If I hunch, everything's fine. Hello. Maybe if I... No, because it's about the balance. I want you to see the lunar. Perfect. Okay. Okay, we've had our wholesome moment. My heart is full. I feel whole again. Everything is right with the world. I'm going to close all of my other tabs so that I have maximum battery power going towards this shit. It is a good day. Oh, that was really sweet. So wait, is he still living? Also, I realized something. Sorry, completely off topic. I realized something the other day about the worms with Jane, because I'm you know I'm making a book with all the, and I was like, do you know what would be really cool is if I like put the worm, the type of worm that it was, in to the book to be like, this is the species or whatever, to be like, why this one, blah blah blah. And I did some research and I fucking realized it's a type of wasp that births it lays its eggs on other creatures so that the babies can feed off of that creature. It's a parasitic wasp species. And I was like, oh, John, stop being so intelligent. It's not fair. I was like, that is so fucking clever. What the fuck? That's so brilliant. Like, that is ingenious. Because I, honest to God, just thought they were maggots. I just thought she was a rotten woman. You know what I mean? I really did not think that deep into it. But clearly John did, and it's all the better. How am I going to do this? You know what? We're just going to make it. I wish I could like undo in real life. I feel like that would be very useful. I haven't spoken this much out loud in a long time because I've been at home alone by myself, obviously, because that's the definition of being alone. So if my voice gives out or if I start going down in octaves, it's because I'm conserving my ability to speak. Right. Very exciting. Okay. And go.
Regarding the cleaning habits of his father-in-law. Statement of Lester Chang regarding the cleaning habits of his father-in-law. Original statement given March 5th, 1995. Audio recording by Jonathan Sims, head archivist of the Magnus Institute.
It's back! Yes!
Statement begins.
I miss having something I can speak along with him.
My father-in-law was always a fastidious man. When we first met, I made some jokes about OCD, but a few warning looks from Danny shut me right up.
Yeah, I fucking bet it did.
Greg Russell was very tidy and very clean. But balanced out, I always thought, by his wife Sandra, my mother-in-law. I know I meant to hate my mother-in-law, but honestly, Sandra and I got on fantastically. Both of us were kind of messy and found the chaos comforting and homely. And we had very similar senses of humor.
Jesus.
I never figured out whether she and Greg complimented each other or drove each other up the wall. When I first met them, I was horrified by the way they talked to each other, convinced I was about to witness the messy divorce of my girlfriend's parents. But 12 years later, they were still together, and I found myself privy to their more tender moments. To be honest, I'm still not sure how healthy their relationship was, but it seems to work for them, and Danielle, my wife, didn't seem to have inherited any of their more confrontational habits when it came to our relationship.
Oh, that's good.
All in all, I enjoyed seeing them 2 or 3 times a year on holidays, but
That's
was
also
kind
good.
of glad they lived all the way up in Newcastle. Danny would talk to them on the phone for hours, and I'd get all the updates, but crucially, I didn't have to do much of the interaction myself. And that was more than enough for me.
Okay.
Then, last year, the unthinkable happened.
Ooh.
Hereditary conditions, right? They can really ruin everything.
Yeah.
The doctors told us the chances of it happening were astronomical. Like we should be proud of having something so unlikely march in and ruin our lives.
Yeah, medical
Within 10
professionals will
months,
do
both
that.
myself and Greg were widowers. I think I must have spent more nights that year in hospital chairs than I did in my own bed. But November rolled around and I had it all to myself. You don't realize how big a bed can be until something like that happens.
Oh, buddy.
I don't really know what I expected it to do to my relationship with my father-in-law. I mean, I didn't really expect anything at all. If you'd asked me at the time, I probably would have said that it should have brought us closer together. We'd probably end up leaning on each other for support.
I mean, maybe.
But that never really happened.
Okay.
Instead, he stopped contacting me completely. He still answered the phone when I called, but was polite when I went to check up on him. Every bit of communication had to be instigated by me. And he had gotten cleaner. I didn't think it was possible, but every time I went over there, the smell of bleach was almost overwhelming. More often than not, he was wearing rubber cleaning gloves when he opened the door, and as I walked around, I could feel his eyes, making note of everywhere I walked, everything I touched.
Jesus.
I tried to talk to him about it, suggest he get help, but whenever I mention it, he would try to change the subject and talk about television or the news, though if I tried, it became clear he didn't actually follow either. Finally, I decided I just couldn't stand it anymore. I sat him down and told him that if he didn't talk to someone about his compulsions, I was going to have to set something up for him. I told him that whatever he was doing, it wasn't the right way to deal with Sandra and Danny's death. I didn't handle it well.
Wait, they both? Wait.
Fell deep in grief.
They both died? Oh, shit. I thought it was just his wife. Oh, fuck. They both died. At the same time. That's not normal. Mm-mm. Nah. That ain't normal. Let me read the transcript. Hereditary conditions, right? They can really ruin everything. The doctors told us the chances of it happening were astronomical. Like, we should be proud of having something so unlikely. But within 10, I missed that bit. Within 10 months, both myself and Greg were widowers. Sorry for your losses, your mutual losses, I suppose. Which one went first, I wonder? That's morbid.
Myself, and I almost broke down, pleading with him, telling him it wasn't healthy.
Okay.
When I said that, he laughed. He actually threw his head back and laughed.
Oh dear.
It was one of the most unnerving sounds I'd ever heard. Greg stood up, walked over to a small cabinet in his kitchen, and opened it to reveal row upon row of individually packaged miniatures of gin. He picked one of them up and inspected it, checking the top and bottom and examining the seal to make sure it was unbroken. Then, in one swift motion, he opened the tiny bottle and emptied it down his throat.
Oh dear.
He did this 3 times before he finally looked back at me. His gaze was softened by the alcohol, but it still looked like it was almost a physical effort for him to force out the words. "There is mold in my drain." That's all he said.
Okay. All right, buddy. Okay, there's mold in your drain. Okay. Jesus Christ. That's such an intense way to say there's mold in my... I just realized that you can see through 2 of my doors. But you can't really see through the second one because that's just how the wall works. I'll show you. We're in my hall. We're at the start of my bedroom. Now I'm in the bedroom. But you wouldn't know that. Sorry, that was really creepy. I just wanted to see if I could run really fast. I can. I'm not used to doing this anymore. 3 weeks is long enough for me to completely forget how to do this.
All that strange a sentence, all things considered, especially in that context, but something in his face, something in the way he pressed those words out through his lips, made me suddenly feel cold all over. I made my excuses and left. He didn't look up as I closed the front door behind me.
Okay.
I tried to forget, tried to just move on and ignore it. If he didn't want my help, then I had no business trying to force it on him.
Right.
I couldn't do it. He was Danny's father, my last connection to her.
Sorry,
I don't
mate.
believe in ghosts or the afterlife or anything like that, but I knew she would have wanted me to do something.
You know, that's
Danny never
probably
gave
true.
up on anyone. Work wasn't expecting me back for another few weeks, and Danny had a solid life insurance policy, so there wasn't any problem booking a decent hotel room for a week in Newcastle. I knew that my father-in-law would never allow me to stay in his home, not at that point. But he couldn't stop me being nearby. So I started to check in on him every day. I brought him hot meals and talked to him for hours, even when he didn't want to talk back.
Oh, that's really sweet.
But none of it seemed to weaken the cleaning compulsion that had taken hold of him.
Okay.
If anything, after a few days, I noticed that I had adopted the habit of cleaning my hands a second time before leaving the hotel bathroom.
Oh dear.
Greg wouldn't let me use his. On the 5th day, I did see inside his bathroom, though. I won't go into details, but suffice to say my use of it was over his protests. It was just as clean as the rest of the house, beyond clean, really, as I could see some of the enamel fittings had been worn down, and the tile grouting and sealant around the sink were starting to corrode.
Yeah, you got to be careful with
I shook my
chemicals on
head
those.
and turned to leave, but as I did so,
Oh no.
I saw a small flash of colour in the bath.
Oh no.
I pulled back the white curtain and looked down.
Oh no.
Surrounding the edges of the plug's pristine chrome
Oh no.
was a small halo of purple.
Oh no.
I leaned over to get a closer look.
Fuck.
It appeared to be some sort of fungus,
Oh no.
scrubbed away, so only the faintest traces remained.
Okay.
There was a spongy, fibrous look to it,
Oh great.
and I had the sudden image of long, soft tendrils
Eh.
stretching away down through the pipes.
Maybe don't think that ever.
It
What
was
the
the colour
fuck?
of a fresh bruise. It
Ew.
smelled sour, like old milk.
Stop with the visual
I don't know
imagery.
how long I stood staring at it. But when I looked up, my father-in-law stood in the bathroom door with a look on his face that was a mixture of anger and embarrassment. He started screaming at me about privacy and respect, about how he was a clean man and knew how to keep his house pure.
Okay.
He had a lump of wire wool in his hands, and I left quickly because I was somehow sure that if I didn't, he was going to start scrubbing me with it.
Sorry.
I didn't go back the next day, both to let him cool off and because I needed to spend some time convincing myself that I shouldn't just head home and leave him to whatever the hell he thought was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get that mold out of my head, though.
Oh, great. It's
When
got
I
you
went out to
too.
eat, I kept thinking I could smell that awful sour odor. And I ended up just sitting there, watching my burger as it cooled down, searching its surface for any signs of something.
Oh, no.
At one point, a fly landed on it. And I just found myself nodding, like everything was exactly as it should be.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I wasn't sleeping well.
Yeah, that's
My
fucking
sheets
apparent.
smelled odd, slimy somehow, though whenever I turned the lights on to look, there was nothing out of the ordinary. I did go back. Of course I did. He wasn't well.
Mm-hmm.
I know I should have done something, forced some help on him somehow, but even now, I'm not sure how I could have done it.
Mm.
Greg didn't answer the door, but
It'd be
it
like
wasn't
that
locked.
sometimes.
The house was still spotless, but the cleanliness didn't look quite as fresh as it had before. Like it's been cleaned earlier and just hadn't been used since then.
Right.
My
That
father-in-law
actually
was
makes
sat
sense.
on the sofa in the same clothes he'd had on the last time I'd seen him.
Oh, no.
His skin was slick with sweat, and his face was blank. I called out to him, and he looked up, but there was no recognition in his eyes.
That's not good.
I glanced behind him and saw the bathroom door was closed.
Okay.
Not just closed, though, but sealed. All
Okay.
the edges and the cracks had been packed through with sealant. He'd even nailed extra wood to the bottom of the door and sealed all the crevices of that.
Is it full? Oh, God, it's going to be
It
full of...
didn't do anything to stop that sour smell, though, which seemed to pulse and ooze from the doorway,
Yeah.
and as I stared at the edges of it, I noticed the sealant was laced through with thin tendrils of purple.
Oh, no.
I turned to Greg to say something, to ask a question. But then I noticed something. I began to realize that, aside from his head, every inch of skin was covered with clothes, with gloves or a scarf.
Oh, no.
Whereas before he had been dressing to be sterile,
No.
now it seemed like he was dressing to keep covered.
Oh, fucking no.
And then I looked into his face. I saw the thin crust of purple around his eyelids.
Oh, no!
And the color of veins in his bloodshot eyes.
Oh, my God, it's like The Last of Us again.
He started to move to open his mouth, but I didn't give him the chance. I didn't even stop to consider alternatives. I just turned on my heel and ran.
Oh, my God.
Some people might call me a coward, but I am absolutely sure those people would not have made it out of that house. I know I should have called someone.
Probably.
Not the police or the ambulance service, but I was in shock.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't know what I'd just witnessed.
That's very
I
fair.
still don't, not really. I went back one more time, but I didn't even get past the front gate before the smell hit me. I turned back. It looked like my father-in-law was moving, though. I remember it was Brecon and Hope doing it.
Oh,
They had a
fucking
depot a
great.
ways down the street, and I recall thinking how odd it was, using a couple of local lads with such a small van, given how much furniture they were having to load up from Greg's house.
Oh, no.
I asked them about it, about where he was, but they just looked at each other and mumbled something in Polish or Russian. And then they completely ignored me. I was going to press the issue, but I got another wave of that dreadful, rotten smell from the house and realized I had to leave before I was sick.
Sorry, mate.
The next time I went back, the place was empty. The smell was gone. And I never saw my father-in-law again.
Brecon and Hope, buddy.
Statement ends.
Oh, dear.
Elias gave me this before I left. Said it might help me clarify my next move. I should really have waited, got some rest before I recorded it.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
until I'd had a chance to move out of Georgie's.
Yeah, probably.
I've already stayed here too long. It's not fair putting him in danger like this.
No, probably not.
Or the Admiral.
Oh.
God, if Daisy had come when I was here. I wasn't sure what Elias meant by my next move until the end of this statement. Horrible as whatever it was that overtook Greg Russell must have been, it seems less than entirely relevant to the current situation. For Beacon and Hope, speaking Russian and helping transport a victim of whatever dark power rules over disease and rot. And insects, maybe. I was just about convinced that they served the stranger, and their speaking Russian might well support that, if it ties them to the circus, but this is not the first time they've been delivering things that seem to be tied to other beings.
I think they're like a middle ground.
Are they a neutral party?
Yes,
Around
that's what I'm thinking.
You
took the words right out of my mouth, buddy. Me and John, we're so... I mean, John did destroy a spider table because he thought that would kill the beast. Would I have done that? I'm thinking, would I? Because when he was doing it, I was like, sure. But at the same time, if I actually think about it first, because at the time, it was a very emotionally... I was very tired when listening to those, so I wasn't exactly at my smartest. And I was also very emotionally like, oh, fuck. So I wasn't really thinking about anything. So I don't know if I would have done what he did. Sorry. But I will say that John needs to give himself a fucking break, I guess. That's where I'm going to end that sentence.
The infrastructure? Or are they fully part of the stranger, just serving as allies of convenience for other things that need to be moved?
Yeah, that could work.
More importantly, though, it mentions a depot in Newcastle. Sasha checked on the Nottingham depot when they first came up.
Oh no, Sasha.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Oh, Sasha!
A different time. But that had long been gentrified into luxury flats. Sasha never mentioned that there might have been other depots, and I never asked. I need to do some digging, because if the place is still there, if the building is still standing, I might just have an idea where to...
So, what, you were just packing this away?
Georgie, I needed to do one more.
I asked you not to record them here.
I'm sorry, I honestly forgot. It's been a hell of a week.
Yeah, not just for you. What, you think you just disappear for 5 days, then turn up looking like the end of Die Hard, and I'll just write it off? Classic John, what an interesting life he must lead.
No,
Where have you been? What happened to your hand?
I don't want to talk about it.
Tough.
Look, I'm moving out anyway, so just forget it. I'm out of your life, all right?
No.
No what?
You leave, you don't get your tapes back.
Oh!
What?
When you disappeared...
Oh, shit! She hustled you! That's my girl. Fucking get him, Georgie. Yeah.
You recorded and locked them away. Honestly, I thought I might need them as evidence. You want them back, you tell me what's happening.
Georgie, please, you'll think I'm delusional.
I really hope so, John. Because right now, I just think you're a dickhead.
Woo! Oh!
All right. Okay, it started when...
Walk him like a dog, bitch! Walk him like a dog! Ooh! That was kind of hot. Jodie, you fucking... Jodie? I kind of love you. I love that she went, I hid your recordings and you're not getting them back. Spill the fucking beans. Walk him like a dog, sis. We love to see it.
Nothing really paranormal, but life was fine. Georgie, please, you'll think I'm delusional.
I really hope so, John. Because right now, I just think you're a dickhead.
All right.
Can I just say, she doesn't need the ability to compel people. Like, she was born with that. John had to sell his soul to a fear entity. Georgie was born with compelling abilities, okay? Walk him like a dog.
Okay, it started when I got that job at the Magnus Institute, you remember?
Yeah, they do studies on ghosts and psychics and that, right?
More or less. I was hired as a researcher, and that was fine. I enjoyed it. Nothing really paranormal, but life was fine. It was good. Then, a couple of years ago, the head of the archives, Gertrude Robinson, she disappeared. And Elias, my boss, chose me as her replacement.
It's nice to hear this story.
What?
Why would he give you that job?
He thought I could do it.
You were a researcher, John. I mean, that's a long way from an archivist. And I know you don't just have a library science degree hanging around.
I mean, it's all the same data and papers and stuff, isn't it?
Not really.
Well, I was given some assistants. Tim, Sasha, and Martin. They helped.
Look, were any of them trained in information science?
I don't know.
George is
I mean,
blowing all of this up.
weird bit yet.
No, I know you talk a good game, John, but hiring you out of the blue as an archivist is pretty weird.
Head archivist.
Well, that does make sense, actually, in context.
I'm not sure I follow.
What I mean is, if there's no one above you, there's no one to point out you're doing everything wrong.
Look, can we?
Oh my god! Georgie, you fucking menace! Jesus Christ! She just ended this man's whole career. Also, I like that she's blowing this whole thing like wide open. Like, she's one sentence into the story, and we're talking like way back when in the day, and she's like, wait, hang on, why the fuck did he make you head archivist? You were a researcher. What the fuck? Huh? Amazing.
Professional competence to one side, please, because I'm trying to tell you monsters are real.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, what?
Okay. I know monsters are real, and I assume there's more.
You know.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready for that now, was he? Georgie, I fucking love you, mate.
You just believe me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not belief. I've seen them.
Oh.
You've seen monsters.
Not the time, John.
Right. It's just I think I'm turning into one.
Oh.
Really? That's not great.
Oh no.
Ever since I took this job, I felt a compulsion to read out some of the statements, the ones that really touched the supernatural. And when I do, I feel them. I feel their confusion and fear. I tried to write it off, but and I can make people tell me their stories. Anytime I ask a question, people just answer.
Okay, well, that bit will need some proof.
Fine. What is something you would never choose to tell me?
When we first met, I thought you were putting on that accent to sound more impressive. Oh, John, I'm so sorry.
I mean, I guess I did exaggerate it. It's a long time ago, anyway.
Yeah, I guess so.
The Institute is... there are beings, like weird gods or powers or something. They're outside our universe somewhere, but they push through sometimes in the form of these monsters.
Yep.
And sometimes they choose people to be servants or conduits.
Avatars?
Avatars. But they end up getting these abilities. And they lose a lot of their self. Sometimes all of it.
And you think that's what's happening to you?
Yes. Yes. The Institute serves one of these beings, at least Elias, who runs the place, does. Since accepting the archivist job, I've been different, and I can't quit or apparently do any violence to him. I'm bound somehow.
That does at least explain why he picked you. If your job is asking questions, I mean. You were always the one who pushed too far and asked smart-ass, awkward questions. I always was surprised you never got punched.
Well, I think that bit of luck's run out.
So, you've discovered your boss is evil, making you kind of evil, and you can't quit. So you fled here?
And there were some murders.
I assume that's why I had the police asking after you.
Oh, they came here.
It's fine, you were asleep then. Anyway, that makes sense, but it doesn't explain the hand.
Oh, that was one of the other avatars.
Of your guy, or?
Well, no, my patron is focused on knowledge and observation.
I like
calls
that.
it the eye, but I've also heard it called beholding or ceaseless watcher. A lot of names. This one was the lightless flame, or I think she called it the desolation. It's burning, destruction, pain, all the bad bits of fire without any of the light or joy.
Sounds lovely. And you were meeting them because...
One of the powers, the stranger, is its beings are trying to perform a ritual they call the unknowing. Apparently it's meant to remake the world and bring it closer to their master. I don't know exactly what that means or where it is, but I need to stop it.
Jonathan Sims, are you trying to save the world?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Badass.
But I need information, so I've been trying to find as many like me as possible. I've got a lot of leads. A weird Russian circus run by Gregor or Nikola Rosinov, and these weird van drivers that seem to turn up everywhere, and mannequins and taxidermy and skin and all sorts, but nothing solid. Elias has been sending me statements, apparently to prepare me, whatever that means, but some of the people I've been talking to have been very dangerous. I'm starting to feel like a bit of a punching bag, to be honest.
Oh, baby.
It would be nice to meet a monster and not have a scar to show for it.
Oh, baby.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
So, you believe me?
Yeah, I do.
Thank God.
John, these things you're talking about, is one of them like death?
Yes, I think so. There's one I've heard called The End. Why?
I'll make us a cup of tea.
No. Oh! Oh! Oh no! If Georgie dies, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed off. Georgie, you gotta survive this, okay? The Admiral needs you. I need you. You gotta survive. I don't care if you come out of this with like no limbs and like one eye, okay? That's better than you being dead, honestly. I'd rather you be a vegetable. I cannot handle you dying, okay? I just about survived the loss of Sasha. I will not survive the loss of you, okay? Georgie is fucking hilarious as well. Oh my god, she's so funny. That whole half of that was her slating the shit out of John. The other half of that was her just being like, yeah, I know that already. The fuck? Tell me something I don't fucking know. Jesus Christ. Brilliant. Oh, I guess the next one is her statement. That's why it's a tag. That's why it's a tag. I mainly in my head, I figure out which episodes are important based on how frequently they show up and thus have to be excluded tags on AO3. Dead Women Walking, which is the next episode, is one of those ones. So was A Guest for Mr. Spider. So is obviously episode 200 and like the ones leading up to it. I see those a lot in the tags, so obviously they're on the exclusion list. What I really like is when I do a long stream like this, and then afterwards I get to go on AO3 and I get to see how many tags I can delete. Because it's quite fun to see suddenly, because it's like right now, I think there's about 3,000 fan fictions, which after exclusions, I could technically read, right? And it's quite fun to, as I take off excluded tags, because I've watched the episode now, watching as more trickle in, even though I probably like will never read them. It's just fun to me. That's just the weird kind. It's like I enjoy watching loading bars. I really like watching loading bars. I don't know why, I just do. And I like watching as the fan fiction options go up. Anyway, dead woman walking. God, I can't believe this was in 2018. If I don't hear AI guy one more time whilst listening to this, there's 200 episodes, so it's got to happen at some point, but I will be really upset because I really love it. That is it's so weirdly important to my experience, as was the whole supplemental. Yeah! As is the Jonathan Sims, head archivist of the Magnus Institute, London. It used to be, I would be like, head archivist, put some respect on in my man's name. Like, you're damn right you are. Like, I just like hyping my man up. Now I just say it with him because I'm like, I can't keep coming up with original content. I am imaginative up to a point, and that is the point. I can't keep coming up with ways to hype this man up, okay? I was like, this man is insane, but he's still head archivist, and that was about as good as I got. Anyway. Right.
Episode 94. Dead woman walking.
Oh dear. I'm going to open the door. There may be the sound of cars, but it's better than me boiling in my house because I get hot very easily. Oh Jesus. I did not miss that. We're currently making these things. I think it's to make the outside.
And you're
This is very
sure
slow
you're okay
going.
with this, and with me recording.
I mean, no. But you told all your stuff, so I mean, it's just fair, I think.
Oh.
Maybe I know something that can help.
No, it's not. There are some things it doesn't help to know more about.
That's fair enough.
So, how does this work?
You just tell your story.
Right.
Would it help if I asked?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Probably make it easier because it's not your choice
Statement
anymore.
of Georgina Barker regarding the last words of a possible corpse.
Oh.
Recorded direct from subject, April 29th, 2017. Statement begins. So, what happened?
The static is so cool.
It was my first year of university, before I met you. I was still studying English at Balliol back then and trying to hide how poor my family was from everyone else.
Oh,
None
sorry,
of them
buddy.
said anything, of course, but whenever they talked, I could count the seconds before I got lost. Before one of them made a reference or assumed something about my life, and I realised I was out of my depth. I'd learned what a punt was. There couldn't have been much more than that, surely.
I don't know what a punt is.
And nobody knew any more about my subject than I did, but the way my classmates all seemed to read Latin or reference philosophers I'd never heard of. I'd never been able to travel outside the country, but everyone seemed to assume I went skiing every winter.
I have never been skiing, and I'm glad for it.
I felt
I am the least rich person I think I've ever met. I collect trash from the ground because I like shiny things. I hated when I was in private school and flourished in a public school. I get excited when my friends bring me bottle caps. The best presents I've ever received were £2 diamond paintings and other miscellaneous craft things. That was better than like the expensive shit that my mum has bought me in the past, because I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna make the crap out of this. And I also have never been skiing, nor do I intend to. I am the least rich person ever. I suppose it's because technically I'm not rich, it's my parents. And I know everyone always says that, but that is literally true. I don't have a job. And I'm incredibly disabled. Most of my income is disability allowance. I probably shouldn't say that on the internet. Nothing I just said was true. frog eyes. Have you ever tried that, like frog blinking, where it's like, or making it look like you've got double eyelids by going
Boring. Like I was being judged on all the experiences I'd never been able to have.
Sorry, buddy.
And I always remember
That's
their
fucking-
faces when I get excited and a hint of scouse would creep into my voice.
Oh,
Like I was some sort of curiosity.
oh, baby, I'm sorry.
I was scared all the time.
Rich people suck.
Terrified that someone would see through me. See the fraud I felt like I was.
Mate, I would have
There
been
was
your
only one
best
person
friend.
I really felt myself around.
Yeah,
Her name was Alex Brooke, and she was a medical student at Corpus Christi.
okay.
She'd grown up in an ex-mining town in the Black Country, though I can't remember which one, and she seemed to feel the same way I did. But where I was anxious and self-conscious, she was angry.
Ooh.
I never met anyone who could skewer the pump for stickheads like she could. I think she actually headbutted some rich kid from Christchurch once. She was a couple of years above me, and we met after we both went to some self-satisfied theatre thing in my second week.
Fucking
We
get him, Alex.
simultaneously decided to ditch it halfway through when they started talking about the highlights of the last season at the National. We went for a drink instead, and just like that, we were inseparable. Alex was always
I would
so
have rather
confident,
hung out with
so
them than the rich kids.
utterly
I'm gonna be real
unafraid.
with you. Fuck rich
I
kids,
always
bro.
admired her for that, even if I sometimes found it almost as intimidating as the posh boys quoting Latin. I think she made a point of never letting anything shake her. Even when talking about the most morbid subjects, she never lost that smile.
Fucking get him,
And
Alex.
as a medical student, there were plenty of morbid subjects to talk about.
Yeah, I bet.
She'd discuss her dissections with me, I think just to watch me squirm a bit and talk about how hungry she always got at the smell of preserved brain. Apparently it's exactly like tinned tuna.
Oh my
She liked
god.
to make that observation just before taking a big bite of her sandwich.
That's
I
so
don't think I
funny.
actually ever saw her eat tuna any other time.
That's
Maybe
so
she didn't
funny.
even like the stuff, she just wanted to make a point.
Fucking love her.
I'm sure you
Alex
remember
sounds
all the
like my
protests
best
back
friend.
then.
I want
I went on
her
a
as
few
my
marches
best
myself, so it didn't exactly come as a huge surprise to hear that there was a group occupying one of the faculty buildings. What
protests.
was strange about the whole thing was
Wait, which
nobody
protests?
seemed to exactly know what the
She said, all she said was, I'm sure you remember all the protests back then. When was back then? When the fuck did you go to university? I am not smart enough to calculate it all at the top of my brain, okay? I need you to very explicitly say these protests. Otherwise, it's lost on me.
group were protesting, or exactly when it had started. They'd taken over part of the medical sciences building though, so I think most people assumed it was some sort of scientific ethics or animal rights thing. The staff were all
Yeah, fair
very
enough.
quiet about it.
Ooh.
Alex was loudly angry about it, as was her way.
Very nice.
I wasn't sure exactly what it was about, but reckoned I was probably on the protester side or close to it, but she was having none of it. Apparently, classes were being changed all over the place to avoid that part of the building, and it was playing havoc with her schedule. One night, when we were both through a few pints in Balliol Bar, I mentioned that it was a bit weird there weren't more police around, if they were illegally occupying the place. And she got this little light in her eye.
Ooh.
This wrinkle around the edges that I knew meant trouble. I asked her what she was planning, but she just shook her head and gestured to get us a drink. I didn't see her again until the following afternoon.
I got a lot of these.
She called me up out of nowhere and demanded we have lunch. I didn't point out that it was past 4. There was something in her voice that made me think she hadn't slept, and not because she'd partied the night away. I pushed a plate of chips and sausage towards her, but she barely looked at it.
Oh dear.
Finally, she looked up at me and I saw something new in her face. I saw fear.
Oh no.
They were just sitting there, she said. Apparently, Alex had found her way back into the medical science building after putting me drunkenly to bed.
What?
God knows what she was planning to do. I don't think even she was completely sure. Something about catching the protesters sleeping and bothering them the way she thought they'd been bothering her.
Blech. Love that.
She found her way to the rooms they'd taken over and was about to go in when she glanced through the small window on the swinging double doors. They were lying on the floor, she told me. All of them. Not like they were sleeping, but like they'd just collapsed, motionless where they had been standing.
That's very
There
weird.
were no placards, no signs. Just a couple dozen normal-looking students fallen to the floor. Their chests moved up and down slowly, so Alex was sure they'd been alive, but their eyes stared vacantly into the space in front of them, and everything else about them seemed lifeless and empty. Some of them were lying with their heads or legs at odd, uncomfortable-looking angles, but they either didn't notice or didn't care.
Pleasant.
They all seemed to have fallen away from a single central point in the room. Kneeling there was the only figure who hadn't collapsed. She was an older woman, Alex said, and was almost completely naked. Her skin was pale and her head was shaved. Like the others, she was still.
Fuck
With only the
off.
movement of her chest showing she was still alive, but unlike those on the floor, her eyes moved. They gently swept from one side of the room to the other, like she was searching for something. Then those eyes settled on Alex, staring in through the door. The eyes didn't light up. They didn't narrow or show any sign they'd registered her existence. They just stopped moving and looked at Alex, as though waiting for her next move. And it was at that point Alex had recognized the woman and run.
Who the fuck? Who is it?
Obviously, I wanted to know who the woman was, and I demanded Alex tell me, but she told me to... Well, she said she didn't want to say, and pushed her now cold lunch away from her. I wasn't letting her get away that easily, and I pressed the point. Who was this woman with the shaved head? Where had she seen her before?
Yeah.
Finally, Alex admitted that she'd seen the woman during classes at the medical building. Was she a tutor? What was her name? Alex looked me right in the eyes. They weren't allowed to tell us their names.
What?
It took a few moments to work out what she meant, and when I did, I felt dizzy.
Wait, what?
Alex had such absolute certainty in her voice, but she...
Wait, what? Looked at me. They weren't allowed to tell us their names. What? What?
had to be wrong. It was impossible.
I understand that Georgie, you're smart enough to figure out what the fuck she means. I'm not smart enough to figure out what the fuck she means. I'm confused. What the fuck do you mean? Were the tutors not allowed to? Were the cadavers? Was this a common occurrence? Did Alex just vibe with working corpses? What the fuck? What? I have thoughts. I don't know if they're right. I don't want to know. So I'm just going to go ahead and press play. Keep telling your story, Georgie babes.
I had no idea what to say, and all I could manage to do was blurt out, "Tuna?" She stared at me for a few seconds, then shrugged and looked at the floor. We sat there in silence for a long time, trying to understand what had just been said. I mean, there was no way that there could be something in a university building causing students to collapse and nobody was taking any steps to deal with it, especially if it involved one of the cadavers. It just wasn't possible.
Oh, shit, I was right.
Was that Alex...
Oh my god. It was a cadaver? That's so cool. That's really creepy. I like that.
flying. And
I think the end is like one of my
that was
favorites.
even
I
less
just,
likely. So I
so many
did what I
ways.
thought was the only thing I could do in that situation. I told her I'd go with her if she wanted to take a second look. She
Okay.
didn't, but we went anyway. It was Saturday.
Great
The
choice.
place was eerily quiet.
As
Even
is.
without classes or labs, there were always a few students hovering about, going to and from places, eager
That's
to get
true.
some work done when everywhere wasn't so crowded. But all we passed heading into the building was a single police car sat empty, just slightly mounting the curb. The door to the medical science building stood open. It was a bright day, but the hall stood dark. Alex looked at me just once, as if asking whether I was sure about doing this. I wasn't, but I still nodded. We stepped inside. The building was cool and quiet, with just the faint drone of the air conditioning in the background. I'd never actually been inside before, but Alex's steps were confident in their direction, even if she wasn't confident in her purpose. Finally, she pushed open a pair of doors to one of the teaching rooms, and I saw the scene she'd described. There were the students, lying on the floor. But not just students. I saw faculty and even a policeman slumped there like the others.
Oh no.
What Alex hadn't mentioned was how grey they all seemed. Not in the sense they were sickly, but like they'd had the colour simply drained away from them.
Oh great.
And knelt in the middle was the woman. Her skin seemed grey as well, but in her it was clearly the colour of death. It didn't matter that her ribs rose and fell like she was breathing. Even if Alex hadn't told me
Like she
before,
was
there would have
breathing.
been no doubt in my mind what she was.
Jesus.
Her eyes settled on us with that same disinterested stare. No one moved. Not us, not the corpse, and not the bodies on the floor. There was nothing but the sound of breathing, and maybe the faintest whimpering cry from somewhere among the fallen. Then, very slowly, without any sense of urgency, the dead woman began to stand up.
Oh no.
I remember what it was like only vaguely. Like trying to describe a dream long after you've woken up from it.
Oh no.
As the woman got closer, I could see something in Alex tighten, one so taut that it finally snapped. She lunged forward, grabbed the corpse by its shoulders and began to scream into its face. What did it want? What had it done? Demanding answers. The dead woman with the shaved head ignored her grip, leaned close to her neck and opened her mouth.
Oh no!
For a moment, I had visions of teeth sinking into Alex's flesh, of arterial spray coating the clean white laminate, but all that passed between them was a whisper. Something soft spoken into Alex's ear. Her arms dropped to her side and she turned to look at me. Her eyes were different. They were still hers, and I could tell they still knew me, but something in them was gone. As my gaze met hers, Alex gave a simple, small shrug. So slowly it was as if every ounce of will she had went into that one small gesture. Her head drooped, staring at the floor, and she gently lowered herself down to lie there. And just like that, I was on my own. It feels strange to think that even then I couldn't find the strength to run. If I'm feeling generous to myself, I try to believe it's because I was unwilling to abandon Alex, or maybe the thing had some power to keep me there, but honestly, it was fight, flight, or freeze. And I froze.
Sorry,
I
mate.
saw the dead woman approaching me.
Oh no.
Smelled the chemicals that kept her from rotting.
Oh no.
Saw her lean towards me, saw her lips begin to form words.
Oh no.
In desperation, I slammed my hands over my ears and shut my eyes, willing myself not to hear, not to understand. As far as defenses go, it was basically nothing, but I still think it saved me, at least a bit. I still heard the words.
Oh.
The moment that you die will feel exactly the same as this one.
Oh, fuck, that's so creepy. Oh. That is so. Oh wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. Woo. That's. I know, obviously, this isn't what happened, but essentially, she just existential dreaded half the fucking faculty. I mean, I know that's not what happened, but like, it does kind of sound like that. Like, they all just went, "Fuck, you're right," and then we're like, "I need to sit down," and they all just, in their own heads went, "I need to lay down," and just having existential crises on the floor. Obviously, that didn't happen, but that's my headcanon. If none of this was actually authentic fear entity shit, and it was just people being weird and doing weird shit, that's what I think had happened. It's like an alternate universe. It's like right now I'm listening to a D&D game where there's a wizard who created magic, and essentially all of their spells are just like contraptions that they've made, but they still work as the spells do. So like, for example, they essentially make a Molotov and throw it, and that's their fireball. That's that in an alternate universe, that's what this is like. And in that alternate universe, this person just gave everyone in that room an existential crisis, and they just all decided that they needed a moment.
No difference between the present and the future. No other me that will suffer the indignity of death while I live on. It's all a single moment. And there's no difference between that last moment that ushers us out into oblivion and the one we experience now.
Yeah, that's a good
The
point.
promise of a cold and lonely eternity in the grave would have been a mercy.
It doesn't have to be
At least it
lonely.
would be eternal. But everything ends. Even the universe.
Yep.
Even time.
How many
And
people
that
listen
means
to
it's
this and like
always
freaked out?
already ended.
Wait, what?
I felt every feeling within me boil up. Anger, despair, joy, hope, fear. Especially fear.
I bet.
They overwhelmed me and burned up with the monumental realization of the scale we existed on.
Yeah, it's kind of
Not the
freaky.
meaningless vastness of the universe, but the smallness of it.
Yeah.
And I realized I was in my bed. According to my phone, I have been for several days. I numbly got myself some water and ignored my weeping mother. She tried to hug me, but her arms just slid off my limp shoulders. And that was my life for several months.
Jesus.
Eventually, the memory began to fade and I started to feel again.
Mm-hmm.
I took the year out of university under the umbrella of medical reasons. And by the time I met you, I was, well, I don't think I'll ever be the same person I was before, but I had started being able to actually live again.
Well, that's good.
I never learned for sure what happened to the people in the medical science building or to the dead women.
That would piss me off.
Someone said a police van and ambulance had turned up in the night and taken them all away, but I couldn't find anything more on it. None of them came back to the university, and I never saw Alex again.
Oh, I'm sorry, bud.
There was one thing that never returned to me afterwards, though.
Right?
Since that day, I've never been able to feel afraid. My fear's just gone.
Oh.
I'm not foolhardy. I can still recognize danger and I understand the likelihood of harm, but actual fear? It's simply not something I experience anymore. And I've never been able to figure out if it was cauterized or if it was stolen.
That feels... that feels like a really useful skill to have in this universe. Like, not no fear, because then obviously it's like, I don't fear death. I'm just going to run into the road, I still have that, like, yeah, I understand what danger is and I avoid it if I can. But just not experiencing, like, the debilitating side of fear. That's really fucking useful. I don't know what the fuck that woman did to you, Georgie, but low-key, I feel like you should be thanking them because not obviously not because like she killed your best friend, but in the sense that like I think she may have just saved you from the apocalypse. I think you are now like immune. So yay, Georgie. The Admiral will survive. I cannot survive if the Admiral doesn't. Rom has promised me that no animals are ever harmed in the making of this. I'm going to go ahead and believe that because I refuse to believe that there is a world where my dear sweet Admiral could ever come to harm. Anyway.
So that's it.
Cool.
I see. That
explains some things.
A bit. I can't believe you never told me.
Well, I can't believe you didn't tell me you were on the run from the police over 2 murders, so...
No, you're right.
Are you alright? You look like you're about to keel over.
No, I just... There's been a lot of statements in not a lot of time. I'm exhausted.
Oh,
I
babe.
kind of wish I knew even one person who genuinely wasn't involved.
Oh, babe.
Maybe that's why you thought of me. I mean, it's been years and there must be other old friends you lost touch with. Maybe you did know.
Yeah, maybe I...
It's alright, John. You sleep. I'll tidy up here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, baby boy.
The Magnus
Magnus
Archives
Archives
is a
is a
podcast
podcast.
distributed by Rusty Quill, licensed under a Creative Commons attribution.
Right. On to the next episode. we're just steamrolling this because essentially I'm not going to stop listening until I am satisfied because I've fucking earned it. Okay, it's been 3 weeks. I've missed this shit. I've missed it. I want to get my teeth into it. Also, I'm thinking cheesy pasta tonight. Yep. Absent without leave. Why do I feel like Tim's going to come up in this? That's a really stupid, like, just because I happen to know that he was absent without leave for a while.
Okay, Donna. Give me the biggest Southern US performance you've got.
Who wrote this? How did Rusty Quill?
Right.
Oh, shit.
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archive.
You're damn right it does. This is really fun. I'm having a really good time.
35.
I'm glad I decided to stream
Absent
this.
without leave.
Oh yes, the horrifying nature of unprepared absences. A boss's worst nightmare, honestly.
Right. Statement. Another statement.
Martin! My baby boy, I missed you so much. How are you? I won't give you up. Sorry, that wasn't very. Martin, my man. Martin, my boy. I missed you, yeah. I've been telling myself that I don't help my whole non-binariness by, not at least trying to have a deeper voice. And then I realized that I'm just too excited most of the time and end up screaming. So honestly, there's no hope, I'm just going to be one of those kinds of NBs, the ones that just don't do the whole androgyny shit. I would love to have a deeper voice, but at the same time, I think my voice is very expressive and, I'm very excited to see Martin. I can't help it. He's my boy. He's my rotten soldier. My Swiss cheese. My good time boy.
Martin Blackwood, archival assistant at the Magnus Institute.
Hell yeah.
Recording statement number 9770211. Statement of Luca Moretti, given November 2nd, 1977.
Oh, Martin sounds so dead
There is no
inside.
glory in war. I learned
Jesus.
that early.
Okay.
Maybe there
Fucking hell.
was once. Riding out onto the battlefield with your banner held high, a war horse below you and a lance in your hand. But no, probably not even then. It's just fear. Fear that some unseen enemy might end your life from a mile away with a tank round or an artillery shell. Fear that you might look another man in the eyes the moment before he pulls a trigger and takes your life.
Jesus.
Fear that you might have to look in his eyes before you do the same.
Okay, Martin, sweetheart, as your honorary mother, because your one is sick, I'm gonna need you to stop reading this clearly very upsetting thing, okay? And I'm gonna need you to go into the kitchen, and I'm gonna make you a cup of tea, and we're gonna talk about our feelings, okay? All right, good boy. I need you to stop talking about war because my good sweet boy Martin doesn't deserve this. He's done nothing wrong. His worst sin is lying on his TV. My poor boy Martin, you don't deserve this. I'm sorry, baby. Oh shit, battery saver's on. Well, give me a second. Fucking. I'm coming. Help is on the way. Okay. Okay. Hi there. Hello there. So nice to see you. Ah, I'm so close. There we go. All right. Woo! Woo! Okay. We're not dying today, boys. No, not on my watch. Can't wait for like a crypt. Sorry, mirror imaging. Can't wait for a cryptid to just show up right there. You know, I think that'd be fun. Whenever you're ready. God, if one actually just showed up. Oh, fuck. Yeah, it was just like, oh, is it my time? I don't think I would. I would either do really well in a fear apocalypse or I would die within seconds. It's nothing in between.
I wanted to serve my king because I thought that out there on the field of battle I could be the hero my country needed. But it turned out I was only ready to kill for my country right up until the moment I had the chance.
Oh, baby.
They never tell you how difficult it is to take a human life. They tell you the enemy are monsters, an evil force sweeping across our fair land, burning and murdering, because that's all the enemy knows. They try to keep you far away, firing round after round from whatever hidden spot you found, all so you don't look your enemy in the eyes. Because they're just people.
Yep.
That's not to say I never killed anyone. I honestly don't know. A battle is a terrible, confusing place. I fired my gun plenty, and many Allied soldiers ended up dead. I can't be sure none were because of me, but I never took a life with full knowledge and intention. Not during the war, at least.
Okay.
I wasn't a fascist.
Sorry. Martin, your trauma's going to have to wait a second. We have made the first components. This is the sheet. We've done this step, this step, this step, this step, which means we now get to do this step, and then this step, and then we get to put on the legs. So it's going really well. Look at they're like my children. I love them. I'm so glad I bought this kit. I was like, it's probably going to be really boring, but this is so fun. I really like this. I don't like how my hands smell, though.
I know that's always the claim people try to make, but honestly, I had no time for Mussolini. I'll admit there was a certain poetry to D'Annunzio's words which brought me close to believing in him on occasion, but when he made way for Il Duce, I rapidly lost interest. I had no
Who the
time.
fuck was El Duce?
Old, pouting fool, strutting about and preening.
Lord.
I, like my father, served for the king.
Okay, two things. Because, right, so I'm now aware of the fact that the reason why, I mean, I still have the headcanon that is because he's a theatre kid, but I'm now aware of the fact that part of the reason why John gets really into the transcripts is because it's almost like he assumes their role, so he's experiencing it like they did, as if they're saying it, but through him, kind of. I'm not very good at explaining it, right? That makes sense. That's fair, because he is, you know, an avatar of the eye and all of that shit, right? Martin, however, as far as I'm aware, is not. So either there are two options. Either he is a fear entity, no, like a fear avatar in some capacity, and that's why, you know, he's putting his heart and soul into these performances like Good Boy John was. Or he's just choosing to really give it his all, you know, taking on in the following in the footsteps of John himself, you know, just really giving it his all, you know, letting the theatre kid within him flourish, you know, just of his own volition. Those are the two options, which I think is quite amusing.
Wasn't happy he had thrown his lot in with the fascists, but loyalty was always a failing of mine.
Okay.
That said, I despised communism, and under Mussolini's rule, the military enjoyed freedom and prominence as never before. I ignored, though, the rumours of what my brothers in arms were doing in Libya. By the time the war broke
What were
out,
they doing in
I had
Libya?
been a soldier for most of
I'm
my
not
adult
a I'm
life.
not a history
I had never seen
fanatic.
full combat, despite having made the rank of Marcello Capo in the 4th.
I like how he's saying the Italian. He goes from being really British to Marcello Capo. I'm like, yeah, boy, get that fucking accent going. I was going to say before I got distracted by Martin's sweet Italian accent that I'm not particularly history savvy. The most history I know is ancient, and it's mostly to do with the Greeks. So I do not know anything about wars. Okay, do not come for me. Do not call me ignorant. Okay, I know. I'm well aware that I'm living in an ignorant bliss. Okay, but you know what? I think I've earned it. All right, I have to put up with enough shit my whole life, being bullied about this and being disabled and shit. All right, let me actively. I am mostly oblivious to the people around me on a daily basis. Let me actively choose to be oblivious about this one thing. Okay, let me have this.
We were trained in mountain warfare, some of the toughest men I ever knew, and eager to see combat, even if to do so, we would stand side by side with Nazis.
Oh.
True battle was
I know
worse
that
than
one.
I could have imagined. We were trained and equipped to fight in the Alps, in mountain terrain, but our commanders would send us against tanks and motorized infantry in wide, open plains with no proper cover or elevation.
That sounds
For
like
all our
recipe for
leadership
death.
hungered for war, they had little idea, it seemed, how to wage it. For my part, I discovered that all my dreams of honor were only that. The war tested my mettle, and it broke.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
When the king broke with the fascists and signed the armistice with the Allies, our erstwhile German companions wasted no time turning on us.
Oh.
I spent the last 2 years of the war in a Nazi prison camp.
Oh dear.
But, strange as it feels to say, it wasn't actually that bad. They treated us well enough, and having fought together, the abuse was minimal. It was
Well,
only in the last few
that's
months,
nice.
when our hosts were being pressed by the Russians and resources became scarce, then we suffered.
Ah.
But this is not what I care to dwell on. It was what happened after we were released that brings me to tell you my story. You cannot imagine the chaos immediately after the war was lost. Unlike Germany, carved up between East and West, Italy's division was messier. There was
Okay.
the South, that had surrendered with the king in 1943, and the North, occupied by the Germans for the most part, but
Oh,
some
that
of our
war.
forces
Okay.
had still fought alongside them in Mussolini's puppet
I didn't
state.
realize we were talking about
To give you
World
some
War.
idea
I mean,
what
I
was
still don't
returning
know
home
shit,
to
but whatever.
after the war. Il Duce died in April of 45, and the Germans surrendered in May. But the official peace treaty between Italy and the Allies was not signed until 1947.
Oh dear.
The country was split, divided, and bleeding.
Oh dear.
There was interim government and moves to restore order, but nobody really knew what was going on. There was no debriefing, no official response to our release. I didn't even know I was part of a military that still existed. I had
That's
to make my
fucking
own way
weird.
back to my home near Teramo, walking, hiding, and riding in whatever vehicle had a driver who took pity on me.
Oh.
I don't know
I'm
what I
sorry.
expected to find when I finally arrived home. Whatever it wasn't my old Alpini comrades, uniforms torn and fading, preparing what weapons and equipment they could find for an expedition into the mountains.
What?
My home was in the foothills of the Appennino Centrale, and many of the men I served with I had known since childhood.
Fucking get that Italian
I was
accent,
glad
boy.
to see them alive, and they greeted me with smiles and open arms, but
That's
there was
nice.
something tight about their faces that filled me with a faint dread.
Oh dear.
I asked what they were doing, and their eyes fell to their guns. Deserters, I was told, in the mountains, attacking people and stealing from nearby villages. We were going to find them and take care of them. I started to protest, sure that there must be others better suited to the task, but even before I spoke, I knew this wasn't true. Instead, I asked if the deserters knew the war was over. It was likely they no longer needed to hide. Again, a shake of the head, and there was quiet for a few seconds. It was Antonio Cannavaro, one of my oldest friends, who finally spoke up. The deserters, he said, had gone rotten.
Oh.
Not mad or desperate. Rotten.
Oh dear.
Sono andanti marcio. I suppose I could have left them to it, turned my back on them, and tried to leave my war far behind me.
More power to you,
that was
buddy.
ever really an
See you around.
I told him I was coming, and Antonio nodded his head. joy in the movement. He was a huge bear of a man.
There's a lot of joy in this
And
movement,
I
can't
saw
lie.
his hand shaking as he checked his weapon yet again. My father served his king in the Great War. He told me tales afterwards, stories of courage and heroism, of men fighting for the glory of their country. I now know these stories were lies, but when he was drunk, as he was more and more towards the end, he told other stories. Stories that didn't always make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Once or twice he had talked to me about the wild deserters. These men, he had said, had fled from their units, but rather than trying to escape behind the lines where they might be caught and shot, they would run into the battlefields, into no man's land, and tunnel under the mud and carnage.
Oh.
They lived down there, so he said, desperate, ragged, and barely human.
Oh dear.
At night, you could hear them creeping around the battlefields, stealing what they could and dragging the bodies of the dead down into their dens.
Oh, well, that's not
If you were
fucking good.
quiet, my father would say with a shudder, you could hear them eating.
Ew.
I didn't mention these stories.
Fucking
to my companions as we
cannibalism.
Started to trek.
Why can I not escape cannibalism in this fucking show? It's like the soft leather. It's everywhere. The leather's always soft and the people are always eating other people. Fuck. Jesus Christ, bro.
Up the slopes of Monte Vettori. They clearly had enough on their minds, eyes narrowed against the glare and mouths pressed tight. We didn't talk about the war. There was no question I could have asked that did not risk breaking the fragile solidarity of our small band, but as I walked alongside them, I knew that each of them was dwelling on ghosts and stories of their own.
Ah, sad times, bro.
The first sign we saw of our quarry was a thin column of smoke ahead of us, clear against the deep blue sky. It was a mountain cabin, not uncommon in these parts, with a well-built chimney stack gently announcing its warmth. In front of the door sat a woman with coarse, dark hair, built almost as solidly as the chimney, and quietly mending a thick woolen shirt. As we approached, she looked up and we saw, in the middle of her throat, a ragged bullet hole.
Oh.
Her eyes were cloudy and unfocused as she got to her feet and began to walk towards us,
Oh no.
blood still trickling from her throat.
Oh no.
I heard a scream, and it was so hoarse and inhuman, I assumed for a moment it must have come from this half-dead thing with its ruined throat. But it was Antonio.
Oh no.
His face was ashen, and for a second it seemed he was about to drop his weapon and run. But instead he barreled past me, tackling the woman to the ground. There was an awful snapping sound, but her limbs still moved and flailed weakly as Antonio stood and began to stomp down with all his weight. The others joined in, shouting or screaming, kicking and beating until the corpse was still. I was the only one left standing at the side, staring
Jesus
down at the
Christ.
beaten and bloody mass of something.
Fucking hell.
None of us said a word. The silence lasted for about 4 seconds. Then there was the gunshot.
Oh.
It echoed around the mountain for far longer than it had any right to. We scattered immediately,
Sorry, I don't know
instincts
why I
triggering to
laughed at
find
that.
cover. Too late for poor Alfredo,
Sometimes
a small man whose sister I had won.
sometimes I don't know how to like cope, so I just kind of go I'm not actually laughing. I just don't know how to process something. So I'm like, it was probably meant to be funny. That's my assumption, because most of the time people are trying to be funny. Obviously, this is a horror show. No one's trying to be funny. They're just accidentally funny a good portion of the time. So, yeah.
Once caught it long ago, he remained stood
Hot.
exactly where he'd been when the bullet went clean through his skull.
Desolada.
It was almost 5 minutes before he finally collapsed,
Oh,
but
no.
we watched for far longer to see if he got up again. He didn't. That was the turning point. Not the dark-haired spectre of death, but that sudden, unseen death. Uncaring savagery that could be neither foreseen nor avoided, only awaited. From that moment, the mountain was no longer the place where we hunted, but neither was it somewhere we were prey. It was simply the place we were going to die.
Oh, Jesus.
We continued like this for several days. We saw no other signs of life or whatever passed for it up there on the mountain. The only indication we saw that we weren't utterly alone would be the periodic sound of a gunshot as another of our number fell. The stark terror was evident on every face, but none of us even considered turning back. Something in us
Why the
just
fuck
knew
not?
that we were far beyond anything we could control. And if we were leaving this mountain alive, it would not be through our own decision.
Jesus Christ.
By the time we found the cave, it was only myself, Antonio, and a young lad from the village.
I'm
who
glad
should
Antonio's
not have
still
joined us in
alive.
the first place. I never learned
I
his
feel
name,
like
but
I've done
he'd been a
this
drummer in
wrong.
the fanfare, or so he said. Judging by
Yeah.
how he held his rifle, I believed him. I would have laughed, told him he would have fared better with his drumsticks, but the joke died on my lips.
I fucking bet it did.
The smell that came from that cave was far beyond anything I had experienced in the war. The jagged hole into the cliff face oozed bitter, icy cold, and to call it the smell of death would miss the point of it entirely. It was the smell of our death.
Oh dear.
Antonio turned to me without a word, gripped my hand in his and kissed me once on the forehead.
Oh,
Then he walked to the edge of the cliff and hurled himself over the edge.
Jesus.
I didn't look down after him. Truth be told, I envied him his resolve.
I
I
bet.
walked into the cave. The drummer boy might have followed after me, or he might have joined Antonio. I never turned around. He was the last thing on my mind. The cave was a long way from natural, forming a smooth but uneven tunnel heading deep into the mountain. It narrowed slightly as I descended until I was stooped, half walking, half crawling along the floor. The smell seemed milder inside, but I don't know if it was truly less, or I had already grown accustomed to it.
Yeah, possible.
The texture of the earth beneath my hands changed so gradually I barely noticed,
Oh,
and
God.
the torch I had brought was too weak to show anything more than a few inches in front of me. The first moment I realized what the tunnel had become was when I placed my hand fully over the cold and clammy skin
No.
of someone's face.
Oh, no.
I pulled my hand back with a cry and pushed my torch down to focus on what was below me. It was a corpse, as I had thought. Its eyes were closed and its face was serene, but it was dressed in uniform, cut through and black with blood. It was Italian, I thought, but an old design and not one I really recognized.
Damn.
Shining my torch around, I saw more of them, half buried in the walls and ceiling. More dead faces, more uniforms, and not just Italian either. I pressed on, trying to find gaps between the bodies where it was still dirt, trying to avoid touching them.
Here we go.
But
That's
those
better.
spaces became smaller and smaller, and the corpses were now piled 2 or 3 deep. It wasn't long before the one way forward was clambering over them, climbing along their stiff, unfeeling limbs. When they all opened their eyes, it was unhurried and deliberate.
Oh, God.
They were already focused on me, as though they'd been following my progress.
Ah!
Closed on.
Hi! Oh my God, I missed you! How are you doing? Ah! I literally one of the first things I did when I came on, I was like, I really hope Maria's okay. It's so good to see you. I'm back. Yeah, I finished I wish. No, I finished my vignette, so I thought I would have a little fun time, and we're making a lunar lander out of metal, which is really fun. I can't lie to you, this is really fucking fun. And currently listening to Good Boy Martin talk about the war, which it's so Maria, hi. It's so nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. You'll never guess what, my last video has 100 fucking views. What's that about? I'm sorry, 100 views? Who do I think I am? I tried to comment on your stream to check in. Oh, that's so cute. I appreciate that. I promise I am okay though. If I'm not streaming, it's because I'm working, and yeah, I don't know why either, because I don't like ban comments. I don't know. It's probably some weird setting that I've accidentally put on or some shit like that. But I appreciate you wanting to check in with me. But I promise I've been fine. I've just been working. It deleted your comment. What? That's so rude. How fucking dare they? I want to check you're okay. No. No checking that they're okay. Not on my fucking watch. Jesus. Well, I'm really glad that you're here. Let Marie speak a truth. God damn. Anyway, yeah, so we're making a lunar lander, and I'm having a really good time with it. Martin's not having a good time. Martin's in the throes of Italian war trauma. And sorry, I'm just and yeah. Oh, other than that, found out Georgie doesn't experience fear anymore. Personally, I think that's a boon. That's a boon, okay? In this fucking universe, not being able to experience fear whilst also still being able to recognize danger, absolutely the biggest fucking boon you could ever experience. Like, I understand she went through trauma and lost her best friend, but like, I know! I was so excited! I heard him purring and meowing, and I had to listen to it again, and I started to cry. Because bear in mind, it's been 3 weeks since I listened to it, and that was one of the first things I heard. I was like, oh my god. I cried a little bit. I can't even lie to you. I cried. There, I said it. I'm not so little of a man that I can't admit that I cried when I heard the cats. Anyway. So Martin's person is in a cave full of corpses that have all just opened their eyes, which is fine, you know. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be back in a bit. YouTube. Oh, bless. Well, I love you. I'm so glad that you were here. And whatever you're doing, I hope you have a good time with it. And have a good day. Oh, so nice. I'm really glad that I got to see you, that you came back. Anyway, right. So, yeah, cave full of corpses. Very fun.
Eyelids. They were not cloudy. When they all opened their eyes, it was unhurried and deliberate.
Ew.
They were
Hate
already
it.
focused on
Hate
me,
it.
as though they'd been following my progress from behind closed eyelids.
They probably had
They were
been,
not
let's be
cloudy,
honest.
like the woman at the cabin, but sharp and clear, slowly swiveling in their
Jesus.
sockets to watch me climb over them.
Ew.
They did not move. I believe, though, at one point they started to sing, but that might just be in the nightmares I have since endured. When I reached the end of the tunnel, the deserter was waiting. He had his rifle pointed at me and sat in a tiny hollow with nothing but a small pile of soiled bandages and 2 dead rats.
Oh, Jesus.
He was young and so thin that for the briefest of seconds I felt a deep pity for him. The mud caked on his face had lines carved through it where tears had fallen, but they hadn't been shed for me.
Nope.
He lifted his rifle and prepared to kill me. I tried to raise my own, knowing with a perverse sense of relief that I was too slow. He would pull his trigger before I would pull mine. It was over. But as I lifted the barrel to fire, I heard shots, 5 or 6 of them, ringing out in rapid succession.
Oh,
In the closeness of the tunnel, they were deafening.
Jesus.
The deserter slumped. He was dead the moment the first shot sounded.
Oh, wow.
Maybe even before that. For all his gaunt frame and emaciated body, he hit the ground with a weight that seemed to shake the mountain.
Jesus.
I'd never before witnessed a firing squad, and I never care to again. Although, of course, I was alone in the tunnel. I left the deserter's corpse there, left the cave and the mountain, left my home and my country. Eventually I came here, and I never want to return.
Fair enough.
That is my story.
I don't blame you, buddy. Oh, Martin!
Done.
Oh, Martin! Oh, my baby boy! Oh, there's a bunch of fucking frat boys outside. Fuck off, okay? I'm having a moment with Martin. Oh, Martin, my baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to experience this.
That is my story.
Jeez.
Statement done.
Yeah. It's okay, baby. Let it out.
I don't like recording these. There. I said it. I'm sorry, whoever's listening to this. I know it's unprofessional, but I don't like it.
That's okay.
I guess we're past professionalism now.
We very much
Probably.
are. Yeah.
I don't even know why I'm still doing them since John's back now. Well, back is a strong term. I guess just nobody told me to stop. Melanie's been asking about cases related to war, so I thought, I mean, it's not even like there's any follow-up I can do on an unofficial Italian military operation from a period in Italian history where there's basically no records.
Oh. I lost it.
John came by. He asked Melanie to see what she could hunt down about the owners of an old depot up in Newcastle and asked me to get him a couple of books on taxidermy from the library. Then he left.
Aww.
Again.
Oh.
I mean, I'm glad he's back, and I guess he seems to trust us a bit more now, but and I'm glad we can help. Of course I am. It's just what he's doing seems really dangerous, and
It
I
is.
get that he's worried about us. I mean, we worry about him as well. I worry.
Oh.
I wish he'd just keep asking that pen. Yeah, hi, Basira. How long have you been there? I don't know. A couple of hours. Why? You didn't say anything. Yeah, I was reading. Did you need me? Just, feel a bit self-conscious.
Oh my god. Basira is just so fucking not. Just, nah. There is not giving a fuck. And then there's Basira. Basira just don't care. Not a single fuck to be given. Negative fucks. She's managed to enter the negative fuck territory. Brilliant. Also, I like how much she's like, not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, fucking, I'm minding my own business. Oh, Basira. All the females in this are just so iconic. Georgie's like, yeah, I know that monsters are real. What the fuck are you worrying about, John? Like, chill out, brother. Basira's like, hey, can you pass me that pen? Yeah, I've been listening this whole time, but I don't fucking care. Not my circus, not my monkeys. It's whatever. And Daisy's response to, can he hurt me with his mind? I don't know. Okay, is to beat the shit out of a guy and then go, can't do it in a coma, and then shoot him.
About what? Well, I was just
Fucking brilliant.
Doing a statement and notes, and was it good? You weren't listening? No, I was reading. I just do you want me to find somewhere else to read? Somewhere more, I don't know, obvious? No. Sorry, you just surprised me is all. Sorry. It's okay. What are you reading? Introduction to Alchemy.
Ooh.
It's really interesting, actually. You know, a lot of the symbols people use come from astrology and alchemy. Like
Okay.
the symbol everyone thinks is the female symbol is actually the old astrological sign for Venus,
Ooh.
which means it also means copper in alchemy, which is kind of what?
Nothing. You've been reading a different book every time I've seen you for the last week.
Well, it's my job now.
I would have thought your job was to be a hostage.
I mean, I guess, but what? You want me to just sit and mope around? Huge library up there, and
Sarah don't give a
this
fuck,
is kind of
man.
fascinating.
Sarah don't give a
I
fuck.
don't know, trying to escape?
Sure. How's that gone for you?
What?
The way Tim tells it, we're all in the same boat here. So, how's your escape plan?
Basira, you are an icon, and I love you. And I understand now why Lom was so obsessed with you when you first came up. I get it. I get it. Basira, you're fucking brilliant. It's just like, mate, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't leave, neither can you. I'm gonna go read now. She's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna, like, fucking, what do you want me to do? I can't leave. You can't leave. Fucking bye.
Coming.
Iconic.
How doesn't it bother you? Well, of course it bothers me, but so do a lot of things I can't change. So you make the best of things. And hey, you never know. Maybe there's something in these books that can help us. That's not a bad point, actually.
There we go.
So, do you want me to move? No, I'm just about done. You keep reading.
Oh, baby boy.
Not much else for us to do.
Oh. Damn. I'm kind of hungry. I think I'm gonna make dinner. Obviously, I'm just gonna stay on the stream, but we're gonna navigate to the kitchen. Oh shit! I forgot about the charger. Okay. Well, here's what's gonna happen then. I'm going to do that, and you're going to get a slight snippet of my time in the kitchen, and that is as good as I can give you. So there you go. Don't say I never gave you nothing. 96. Wait, is that really what we're on? Hang on. No chance. Piss off. No. What? No. Where's my history? Let me see my history, asshole. Fuck off. Where's my history? No. No, those are definitely all watched. No chance. Oh, well, shit, I guess chance. Sorry, I know I'm just kind of standing here. Give me a second. Several things need to occur. Just give me a minute. God, we're almost halfway through the episodes. That's a horrifying thought that I never want to think of ever again. Absolutely not. Damn. Okay. Well, if York, just bear with me a second. I got to mark a few things as played because it hasn't realized that the last 4 minutes are not content. So just give me a minute. Mark as played. Mark as played. And now we got return to sender. Jesus, 96 already. Well, fucking damn. Okay, I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to put it here, and hopefully I can still hear it.
This is a paid advertisement by BetterHelp.
We are Chris and
Yeah, well, you ain't paying me, so fuck you, mate.
Podcast, you might
Nope.
know that we're Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archive.
You're fucking right, it does.
Episode 96. Return to sender.
Dun dun dun. You can see my shadow. Such an unnecessarily loud intro.
Statement of Alfred Brecken
Jesus.
regarding a new pair of workers at his delivery company.
What the?
Original statement given May 15th.
Why is this so echoey? My brother, what?
1996. Audio recording by
Please.
Jonathan Sims,
Head archivist of the Magnus Institute, London. No, statement doesn't fucking begin. Statement pauses. Why do you sound like you're in a fucking echo chamber? Huh? If this is your house, that would be really funny. It's like your house is so fucking empty because you never bothered to furnish it that it's just a cavern.
3 years. It was 3 years ago when they arrived. It wasn't much, the little delivery company I built up and poured my heart and soul into. I don't know why they wanted it, but they did. Brecon and Sons, I'd always wanted to call it, but I was always unlucky when it came to love, so in the end I called it Brecon and Hope.
Damn.
Just my own little joke. Backfired on me plenty.
Okay.
Everyone always asking if I'd run things by my partner.
Oh, this is the origin story. Brecon and Hope. Ooh!
I sometimes used to disappear into the back room, pretend I was making a call to Hope. It was harmless enough, though, and the company was growing well. We had opened a few new depots and had a few dozen drivers making deliveries anywhere from Aberdeen to Penzance.
Damn.
Life was pretty good, to be honest.
Well, that's good.
When they turned up at my office, I remember it was their shadows that I saw first.
Oh.
It was early evening, and the sun wasn't shining in through the window, but
Yeah.
still their shadows fell across my desk, thick and dark as they loomed over me in the half-light.
Oh, shit.
They wore featureless grey overalls, and even now, I'm not sure I could easily describe what they look like.
Nah, don't worry, no
To say
one.
they seemed solid, somehow heavier than the world around them. They stared down at me, dark eyes sizing me up, as I coughed gently and asked if I could help them. They traded a few words between them in another language, I think it was Russian, before turning back to look at me. At this point, I was pretty sure these guys must be mafia, probably trying to shake me down, so I waited until it was clear what they wanted from me. But the silence just stretched on and on and on, and eventually I cracked, held out my hand. Arthur Brecon, at your service. Who might you be? There was another pause, shorter this time, for the slightly taller of the two, at least I think one was taller,
I'm still
turned to
doing
his companion and opened his mouth. Brecon, at your service. Who might you be?
Oh,
Instead of the Russian accent I had expected, he spoke in a broad, cartoonish Cockney that I
Ew.
assumed must have been a mocking impression of my own voice. I began to stand up to tell these jokers to get out of my office, but as I did, the shorter one turned to his companion and in a similar voice replied, "The name's Hope. What can I do for you?" I don't know why
Hello.
this shocked me so much, but it stopped
I'm
me
making
right in
dinner.
my tracks. I just watched as they repeated these two phrases back and forth between themselves, introductions made over and over again.
that's so
Finally, they
weird.
stopped and turned back to me. I had no idea what was going to happen or what I was meant to do. But there was something profoundly unnatural about these two figures, and I had no intention of pushing too far and finding out what it was. It was a sunny day in June, and the window was open to a bright field behind the building. I didn't notice the butterfly until it had landed on the one who kept calling himself Hope. With a slow, languid motion, he picked it up. He looked at it for a couple of seconds, then looked at me. Then he ate the butterfly, not slowly or particularly fast.
What the fuck? There were so many things I thought he was going to say. He ate the butterfly. Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ. And on that note, my food is ready. Apparently we're all snacking today. Fucking hell. Lord have mercy, man. Does that feel warm enough? No. Not quite yet, which is honestly probably a good thing, because I don't think I'm quite over the fucking, He ate the butterfly. Well, good for him, I guess.
He just placed it carefully in his mouth and began to chew. As his partner did this, the one who seems to have taken my name held out his hand to me. "Keys," he said. This time the words still lightly accented with Russian.
yeah.
Took the keys to the oldest of the
It's
bags and
a
just
delicacy.
handed them over. Anything to get them out of my office. I'm not a small man, you understand, and I'm not used to feeling intimidated. I got into plenty of scrapes when I was young, and there was a small part of me screaming to teach these disrespectful punks a lesson.
Yeah, I bet
When
it was.
this other Brecan took the key from me. What I felt beneath the skin of his hand convinced me I had made the right choice.
Yeah, I bet it fucking
Then
did.
they turned and left. I wish I could say that was the last I saw of them. That they stole one of my vans and drove away, never to return.
That would be nice,
But
wouldn't
they
it?
did return. And even worse, they started to make deliveries.
Oh.
They were innocuous at first. The right things delivered to the right people on time. Then it became the
Well, that's
right
good.
things delivered to the wrong people.
Oh.
And the wrong things being delivered. Then the very wrong things.
Oh. My favorite thing is speaking
Asking for origin and hope.
This is the origin story I never knew I needed, but always wanted, you know? I mean, they do seem... No, that's fucking good. Oh, that tickled me. That really tickled me. Oh, Jesus. The people actually, I thought they were brothers. I mean, I understand that they're probably eldritch beings, but it didn't occur to me that, like, because honestly, I'm not well and truly in the fandom yet. Like, I am a fan, but until I've, like, finished watching it, honestly, I'm a little scared of entering the fandom, because everyone just says things, and I don't know what they mean, but I know that they're important, and I'm like, I shouldn't know this. I'm but a child amongst you adults. I know nothing of the big world. Okay. That's that. Ow. My toe really fucking hurts. It's infected. I'm surprised I haven't gotten sepsis yet, honestly. We have yet to discover the Beacon and Hope 6 season supercut to confirm their relation to one another. I just assumed because they looked the same, but I suppose that was a very human assumption for me to make. Anyway, we're going to eat a ready meal to fuel this feast, and then we will continue with the making of the lunar landing.
And when I told them who I was, they just shook their heads, and I knew who they were after.
Ooh.
They often brought crates or boxes with them, and once a sack full of hair.
What?
I never opened any of these or looked too closely when they came around. There was something in me that wanted to believe if I was smart and kept my head down, maybe I could somehow get through it.
Sounds like a
I couldn't
very
accept that
justifiable
someone like this
plan.
could just turn up and casually destroy me without cause. If there is a reason that they've picked me, I've never found it out. I have asked them, but unsurprisingly got no answers.
Honestly, I think they
There
just did
must
the
be other
name.
delivery companies, surely, and it's the deliveries they seem to focus on. They're out most of the day and night, usually, allowing me some rest away from their horrid blank faces. But they always come back. When not on delivery, they stand in the break room facing the wall. Sometimes they laugh, suddenly and abruptly, as though they both simultaneously
it is pretty good, I
thought
can't
of a
lie.
hilarious joke.
For a ready meal,
It
it's
sounds
pretty
like
good.
a laugh track in an old sitcom and cuts off almost immediately.
Ew. What?
When I get fitful sleep in the small fold-out cot I keep in my office, I can sense them standing there, looking at me. I don't go home anymore. I'm afraid of what might happen if they followed me outside of a professional environment.
That's
While
fair.
the drivers have been disappearing.
Ooh.
For all that, they do seem to have friends, or at the very least, people who come to see them regularly. Most
Friends
I don't
is a
remember.
strong word.
The feature's difficult to put together from memory, but I know that more than once I've seen the pair of them talking to a figure at the other end of the depot. They always make sure these meetings are in shadow, and I can never get close enough to see exactly who they're talking to. But I think they're dressed like a circus
Oh,
ringmaster.
fuck off!
And so it's been going for the last
No!
2 years. I think I might even be paying them, though it's hard to tell. The account book, as well as the shipping logs and manifests, keep filling up with entries.
I wonder who that could be.
Although it is definitely
whiz. I sure fucking wonder.
Lay my handwriting. I am not sure how long this might continue for. Maybe years. Maybe forever.
Probably forever. I'm sorry,
Whatever
buddy.
fight was in me at the beginning is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally, when they first began to take over, I would start to march up to them, my mind whirring, filled with demands and threats and ultimatums. Then they'd look at me with those blank, impassive eyes, and I'd feel all my resolve simply melt away.
As someone who used to be deathly scared of clowns, that sentence alone would scare. I mean, that's very fair. It's a very disconcerting. Yeah, like, oh yeah, they're just casually talking to a mysterious figure in the corner of my warehouse who's dressed like a fucking clown. Bitch. I'm sorry. What? No. Not today. Not today, bitch. No.
I've forgotten the taste of determination. It won't last forever, though, because I think they've decided they're done with me.
Oh.
I came into work yesterday to find a box sat on my desk. The address and label had been completely scribbled over in black marker pen, and it was impossible to tell from what was originally.
A good solution, honestly.
It didn't matter, though, because on top of it, written in my handwriting with a vicious precision I've always lacked, were the words, "Return to sender." They'd put it there for me.
Oh
They'd
no.
never delivered to me before.
Oh
The
no.
package was still, but every part of me recoiled from it. I slowly walked forward and touched it, but I did not pull away the tape. The day was warm, but the box was ice cold.
Oh no.
The cardboard was spongy and strangely yielding.
Oh, that's
It didn't move
great.
when I pressed it with my hand, but there was a sound like shifting sand.
Ew.
I don't know what was inside. I don't know what is inside. It won't be right. It's not my package. I didn't send it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to look it up in the logs. I found it easily enough. Everything seemed to be in order except the item description. That line simply read, "Goodbye."
Oh my god, that's so
God knows how long I
disconcerting.
spent staring at it.
That's so
Nothing
disconcerting.
about that box was right. The card fitted together at slightly off angles and the corners were damp like being left out in the rain. The table seemed to bend slightly under its weight, yet when I tried to move it, it seemed so light I doubted for a
Would I rather be employed by Amazon or Beacon and Hope? You know, that's a really good question. Well, on one hand, one of them is run by an overlord that we could never begin to hope to understand, and you know, is just, it gets off on exploiting and using other people for its own gain. And the other one is now run by two faceless men. So it's a little bit of a, you know, but at the same time, I think I'd have a decent time with Beacon and Hope. I don't think I'd survive, but I think it'd be fun. You know, I get a hell of a story out of it. Whereas with Amazon, I think I would just get exploited without any of the fun fear stuff. You know, because if I'm going to go out, I may as well go out in a relatively, you know, interesting way. I don't want to just die to the corporate dog, you know. So that's my answer. I think I'd go for Beacon and Hope. Is it Beacon? I thought it was Beacon. I don't even know anymore. It could be either. Fuck, that's funny.
second it could have anything inside. Even then, I never dared to fully lift it up or pull it towards me. There's a gravity there, though, and I don't know how much longer I can resist its pull. My brother came to you people about 10 years ago. He'd been having visions of demons and witches and came to discuss them with you. He never recovered, but he always told me that there was little quite as freeing as making a statement for you. So I snuck away. But I need to be back soon.
I had a feeling I was wrong. Because I've always just called it Beacon and Hope. And I think I just say it, I think I mumble it enough that no one's ever realized. I just assumed beacon. It's like a beacon, you know? Beacon and hope. That makes sense to me. I was like, word association. Cool. I didn't really think much about it, but Brecon makes a lot more sense because Brecon is an actual name that someone could have. And I just don't listen to John, apparently.
It has been freeing talking to you, but not enough to free me from my fate. I am not the sender, but I am going to open that package. I know I leave Brecon and Hope to live free in safe hands.
My thoughts exactly.
Safe hands where the skin feels wrong.
Oh.
Statement ends. I found Mr. Brecon, the real one.
Ooh.
It's strange. For all he talks of worrying that what's in the box will get him, all the bite marks appear to be coming from the inside going out.
What?
What does it mean when death no longer faced? There's a...
Wait. Hang on, mate. Sorry.
I found Mr. Brecon.
I tried to pause it, accidentally hit the transcript, and then it... What are you on about now? Okay. I'm sorry. For all he talks about worrying that what's in the box will get him, all the bite marks appear to be coming from the inside going out. I have so many questions and none of them have been answered. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah. Maria, I don't want to know what you're doing in your spare time anymore. I don't want to know. What the fuck do you mean? Why is... Okay. The bite marks appear to be coming from the inside going out. Inside of where? That remains unclear to me. It might be clear to the average folk. It ain't clear to me. Are they coming from inside him or the box? And if it's coming from inside the box, then I think Mr. Brecon is very much justified in his fear of what's in the fucking box, given it is biting the box. If it's biting the box, it will probably bite the Brecon too. So I understand his concerns. Top 10 questions that size to answer. Fucking hell, man. Is that a... Hang on. I've detected a moth. Give me a second. I just need to... Did I get it? I think I got it. Apologies to my neighbors upstairs. Needs must and all that. I think there's now just a moth dying on my floor. But yeah, I really want a Mothman plushie. I didn't realize how much I needed one till I saw one the other day for Build-A-Bear or some shit like that. And I was like, oh my God, I need that, please. Can I have that? So yeah. Fucking just, I love cryptids. I think they're so neat. I get them, you know. Anyway. I need that too. Exactly. A little Mothman. Like, oh fucking... I'm sorry, but Mothman is just fucking brilliant, and I love him. And also the statue of him has the fattest ass. Like, why did they give him such a dump truck? He was made... Whoever the fuck made that statue really just put a whole bakery back there. Just put a whole bakery back there for the amount of cake that man is packing. Like, Jesus Christ. I didn't know moths could have such defined cheeks, and yet they do. I'm crying. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Fuck, that was... Woo. Woo. That really got me. Oh, shit. Jesus. Ooh. Okay. I lost a whole viewer for that. That's really funny as well. They just saw me creasing, but like, yeah, no, I'm done with this shit. They don't get it. They don't get it, you know? The girls that get it, and the girls that don't.
The real one.
Oh.
It's strange.
Okay, you found
He
Breaking.
talks of worrying that what's in the box will get him.
Mm.
The bite marks appear to be coming from
Probably.
the inside going out. What does it mean when death no longer phases you, even the most grotesque? Perhaps it's a sign I'm adapting to my new situation. Useful, I suppose. I was right about the Newcastle depot. It's still here, and it seems like it's been deserted for a long time. There's a pile of mail at the door almost 2 feet high. And today it was topped with a crisp brown envelope addressed to me containing this statement. Given from Elias, no doubt. He could have sent this to me any time, filled me in on Brecon and Hope, but no. I had to find it myself, just in time for him to show me he knew all about it. Cocky prick. Still.
I like that he's saying all of this into a recorder, almost knowing for a fucking fact that Elias is gonna hear it. This man has been through so much bullshit. He's had his hand burned off. He's been sent into a status free fall for 30 minutes. Next to writing that statement, this guy with the oh fuck, that's oh shit. That's fucking good, man. I do really appreciate the fact that no one gives a fuck. Like, they know that they're being listened to with the recordings, given the fact that they just turned themselves on, which is, you know, fine. We're not going to talk about the fact that the recorders are just turning themselves on. We're not going to deal with that today. We don't have to deal with that. That's fine. We're just going to accept that this is the reality we live in. And they all just still decide to, like, spew their secrets and their feelings and their insults of their boss into the recorder, knowing for, like, almost a fact. Like, they probably don't know definitively, but they probably have a good fucking feeling that Elias knows what's in all of these tapes. And they are still and they're still they just don't. Honestly, I appreciate it. Like, if I were in their situation, I too would just stop giving a fuck.
As I'd hoped, either here or in the statement.
I mean, if you're gonna be recorded, might as well speak your truth. I'm like, what are you choosing from me? I'm so sorry, Maria. I will look through my settings and see if I've accidentally, like, turned on some bullshit thing. Maybe at some point when I was afraid of the internet, I turned on something that was like, all comments have to be reviewed by me or some bullshit like that. At this point, I endorse hate. Fucking hate on me. I need the ego decrease. I'm joking. I don't know what an ego is.
It shows that Brecon and Hope didn't own the company, I guess. That those aren't their real names. It does seem to confirm that they have some connection to the circus, judging by clandestine meetings with someone apparently dressed as a ringmaster. So it's not obvious if you're dressed as a ringmaster.
Like, damn, that's so annoying. That's really weird. I'll still look, because I remember I did something like that to my Facebook, and now my Facebook, it's like near impossible to befriend me on it. At least it used to be, and then I don't know, did something else and just don't use Facebook anymore. But I remember that was a thing that I accidentally did in my settings, so I'll still check. But yeah, YouTube is stealing your truth. It went, you want to comment? Fuck you.
monster and their apparent Russian origins. I say origins, perhaps it's just the last link in a very long chain.
Yep.
If the circus is connected as closely to the stranger and the unknowing as I believe, I should probably keep an eye out for delivery vans.
Yeah, probably.
The other useful thing I found here was one of the old logbooks. It lists deliveries quite a ways past the point where the company technically ceased to exist, right up to 2013.
Oh.
I need to go through it in more detail, but probably not here. This place is done with its story. It's just empty. I don't like it.
Okay.
Who the hell are you people? Let me go! Like I said, you're under arrest.
What for?
Shut up. You're recording again?
What? That's hardly your first crime on tape. And if we're going to question her...
Is that what we're doing? You're making a mistake. Is what you're doing.
You thought we were going to, kill her.
Elias didn't say.
No, he doesn't. He's not big on micromanagement.
It's Elias now, then.
Oh.
Get on with it.
Not a fan of taxidermy.
Don't like wasting time. Last chance.
I really don't want to be interrogating her where those animals can see us.
Dad, they can't see us.
Yeah, it would just be a bad idea.
Fuck
What's
just
your
happened?
name?
Sarah Baldwin.
Are you the same Sarah Baldwin that disappeared in Edinburgh in August 2006?
Some of her. Skin, a few memories. Not on the inside.
Oh,
Understand
shit.
life like and check. Sounds rank enough for it.
Oh, shit. I was gonna say it's an abrupt end, but never mind. Yeah, what the fuck? I'm sorry. What? When the fuck did Daisy get back? I thought Daisy was like on the run or something. What the fuck? It's been a long time since I listened to this shit, so I'm probably forgetting a few things, but what the fuck? I didn't realize that they... How the fuck did they find Sarah Baldwin? This feels a really sudden shift of narrative. We went from, he's in an old storage place and is looking into Breaking and Hope, and now suddenly, out of fucking nowhere, we have a hostage who apparently is just a taxidermied human, which is not disconcerting in the slightest, obviously. Lord. Jesus Christ. Wait. Gotta readjust everything. Oh, lordy, lord. I don't understand how we got here. Like, I'm glad we were in a... John was like, ugh, I hate not knowing what's happening. Anyway, on my way to meet some weird assholes. This is the thing, like, what the fuck? Normally, he gives us a little bit of context before he, just goes off on the fucking deep end. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go... I managed to make a meeting with a serial killer. I'm gonna go see them. And then we can go, you shouldn't do that, John. And then he does it anyway, and that's how this shit goes. No, this man went, I don't like it here. This building's empty. Its story's finished. I have a hostage. What the fuck? How did we get here? When, what, why, how, who? Huh? Just general sounds of confusion.
No, not yet. Did you go as part of a film?
Understand life like and check. Sounds rank enough already.
No, not yet. Did you
Exactly.
go as part of a filming expedition to the Cambridge?
But even then, he was like, yeah, and recording. Supplemental. Like he gave us the cue. He gave us the cue that we were entering chaotic, psychotic John time, We were exiting professional archivist recording, and we were entering John's personal spiral into madness and confusion. It was clear where we stood. I don't know where I stand right now. When the fuck did we find Sarah Baldwin? And why the fuck do I feel like I know a Sarah Baldwin? That feels like a really common ass name. What is happening? I'm so confused. I feel very confused. Now it's just straight to the point. He's getting used to it. You better be as well. It's getting crazier. So, oh, fuck. Well, shit. Sorry. I know you don't like mouth sounds. But yikes. What the fuck? I don't understand what's going on anymore. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're with Baldwin person. She's taxidermied. Grand.
Military hospital.
A mistake. Thought I'd have fun with some over-curious idiots, but it turned out I had trespassed. I paid for it.
So, what? Now you sell dead animals?
Want me to remind? Yeah, I just realized where she came from. Sarah is the fucking weird ass girl that went with Melanie to the goddamn hospital, and his arm just fell off. Jesus Christ. I was thinking of the episode where the person went to a taxidermy shop and almost became taxidermied. Somehow managed to like zip their way out of it, but that's what I was thinking of. But Jesus, Lordy Lord.
What is this place?
The trophy room. A taxidermist shop in Barnet. It says above the door.
Yeah.
Surprised to meet an archivist who can't read.
No.
Yeah, probably.
Why are you here? You and Daniel Rawlings, and I assume the others taken by that mimic thing, the anglerfish.
It's where we were told to be.
What is it? The thing that stole you?
It doesn't have a name.
What did it do to you?
Exactly what you think. They always suffer. How do we kill it? You don't.
There are dozens of deliveries recorded here by Breaker Hope. What were they delivering? What is the significance of this place?
Nothing, except what people give it.
Ooh, shit.
But they give it a lot. Make it a place of power for us. Enough to keep certain items here. The couriers brought them and took them and moved them where they needed to be.
What items? What was stored here?
Books, relics, but nothing since the skins.
The ancient taxidermy, the one that Scaplehorn, the one he saw.
I don't know who that is.
He was a tax inspector. He came here, and Daniel Rawlings, or his replacement, showed him something he claimed to be the oldest piece of taxidermy.
Oh shit! I never put it together that was.
Gorilla
Oh
skin
shit!
from Carthage.
Was this when you sent your Sasha to interrogate
Don't
us?
you dare talk about
Sims. Shut up and focus.
Right.
Fucking keep him on. Come on, Daisy. You're an ally now. Ally. Before Daisy was a problem. Now she's like his like strange guard dog. She's like, calm the fuck down, Jesus. It's like, keep your fucking head together, Sims. I love it. I feel like they're gonna have a very interesting friendship. At least I hope they do. I feel like there could be a really fun friendship there where it was like, you tried to kill me, but now you kind of kill anyone that tries to hurt me. And you know what? I appreciate that character development. So let's be buddies.
Important.
Yes.
For the unknowing.
Yes.
Where is it now?
You have it.
What?
You don't know.
What do you mean I have it?
The old woman, the one before you, she stole it.
Mm.
She killed Daniel and took it.
Why would... What?
You really don't know where it is. I see. I hit her. I'm sure I hit her.
Yeah, you did. Look. Sawdust and cloves. Damn.
What the fuck? What just happened? Jesus Christ! quick with a gun. I have to give it to you. Jesus. God damn.
Before the Met get you.
Whatever you say.
I'll wipe that grin off your face.
What just happened? What the fuck just happened? Daisy seems to either just be really, really ahead of the game, or she is literally the definition of shoot first, ask questions later, or just never ask questions, just shoot. Just fucking shoot and shoot to kill. Fucking insane, man. Time for the next one. We all ignore the pit. Oh, great. When it's an entire sentence for a name, you know that shit's about to fucking go down. Because, you know, having like a random, oh my god, pit. Oh god, that reaction. Oh shit. I'm scared. Don't say it like that. Jesus, did you hear that whistle sound? That was weird. Yeah, because most of the time it's like one fucking word or like a concept. It's like takeaway, anglerfish, fucking lights out, the table, some shit like that, you know? We all ignore the pit. That's too many words, and I don't trust it for a fucking second.
Introducing the Galaxy Book 4 Edge.
If you're not
the new
AI man,
Copilot
I don't
Plus
want
PC
you.
From Samsung.
Rusty Quill presents.
Don't hang
Ah,
around
shit,
now.
shit, shit,
Hi,
shit, shit,
everyone.
shit.
Alex here with an exciting announcement.
I don't know what I
Couple of
just
weeks
did.
ago,
Rusty Quill presents.
Working through, if I remember correctly, fan art for this one might have been the first time I've seen anything related to TMA actually, so it's special to me. Oh, well, that's nice. I mean, it's probably going to be horrifying, but I'm glad that this holds special memories for you, and I'm glad we get to experience them together whilst I create a lunar landing. Honestly, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, so this is pretty, you know, for 18 quid, this is all proper metal, like fucking Tiger out here giving me some proper quality shit. Anyway. Hey, vey.
The Magnus Archives.
I like how he says it all spooky every time. The Magnus Archives. It's like, okay, I get it. We're archiving Magnus, okay.
Episode 97. We all ignore the pit.
Oh, see, too many words. Too many words. Too many words. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be saying that many words in the title, John. It's terrifying. I know that man was giggling after saying that the first time. Probably. This man gets, I think also he just gets real joy out of freaking us all out, you know? Right,
Statement of Jackson Ellis regarding the geographical oddities in the town of Bukoda, Washington.
Okay.
Original statement given 3rd March 2009. Audio recording by Jonathan Sims,
Head archivist of the Magnus Institute, London.
Statement begins.
Yeah, he does.
Last year I moved to the small town of Bukoda, about 15 miles outside of Olympia in the state of Washington.
Is that
I'd never
Dakota's
heard
like
of the town
strange
before, and
cousin?
I certainly had no idea about what I would soon start to think of as the pit. The choice to move was not entirely mine, as my circumstances had driven me into a very particular situation. I'd moved out to Olympia from Pittsburgh to pursue what appeared to be a very promising job as a correspondent for a regional newspaper. There weren't a lot of opportunities in my field, so when I was offered the position in Olympia, I had used all of my savings to make the move. I never got the full story on why the paper closed down so quickly. One person told me they'd gone bankrupt due to embezzlement at a high level. Another claimed there was a huge libel suit and they'd lost it badly. And a third said the decision had been made by their parent company without warning. Whatever the reason, I turned up to my first day of work to find the office halfway through being disassembled.
Damn.
I hadn't technically started my job yet, so there was no redundancy or severance. I was just stranded in Olympia with no money and no obvious place to go.
That's rough, man.
It didn't help matters that my new landlord proved entirely unsympathetic to my situation, since even if I got a new job immediately, I'd be unable to make the next rent payment on the rather overpriced apartment in the city centre. He told me I was in breach of contract and was to be evicted. He gave me 3 days.
What a cunt.
So I ended up in a place where I desperately needed to find somewhere very cheap to live very quickly.
Fair enough.
Somewhere I could stay while I looked for another job. My parents were dirtball themselves and couldn't help.
Sorry,
I'm
mate.
sure they'd have taken me back in, but I didn't have the money to travel across half the country, especially not with all my stuff.
The
You don't
real
realize how many possessions you have
fear is poverty.
until you find them weighing you down, or how little value most of them have to anyone but you. I sold what I could, but I got less than $50, and I barely got rid of anything. So when I got chatting to Tar 2 days before I was getting kicked out, and he told me he had a spare room he was looking to rent out on the cheap, I said yes almost before he'd given me any details about it.
Big
Thomas
mistake.
Krychek was young, blandly handsome, and not desperately bright. He seemed like a good sort, though. He'd bought a small one-story home in the town of Bacoda with his partner a few years ago, but she'd split a month or two before, and now he was struggling to keep up the payments on the house. It wasn't much, but it fit what might generously be called my budget, and Bacoda was less than an hour's drive from Olympia, so commuting into any job I might actually get wouldn't be too bad. I shook his hand, and I moved there.
Capitalism is indeed.
Exactly what you would expect.
Exactly.
A small grid without traffic signs or markings, patches of grass and dirt with small houses irregularly dotted about.
This bit's going to be really hard because, as you can see, it wants to close already. But there is another bit that I need to add. So I'm now going to be defying the forces of metal and hoping I don't break anything. So that should be fun.
Tears, and I'd be surprised if there was more than 500 people in total who called it home. The forest pressed in on all sides, like it did everywhere in the Pacific Northwest, I suppose, but it was an effect I was struggling to get used to.
Thank
As I
you.
pulled up to Tommy's house for the first time, it was strange. I felt like even before I turned off the engine, I didn't belong there.
Oh.
Like I'd walked backstage at a theatre.
Oh no.
Nobody stopped me, but I couldn't shake the impression that I'd gone
Oh, God.
somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Even when Tommy came out and started to unpack the trunk, it seemed to me that he blended into the town in a way I just didn't.
He's part of the
There was no sign
storm.
this was anything other than in my own head. Tommy didn't seem to notice anything off, and as I shifted my stuff into the tiny bedroom, he wordlessly handed me a beer with a big smile.
Oh, that's
I drank
nice.
it gladly and tried my best to relax. As it turned out, my situation wasn't quite as dreadful as I thought. I discovered the next day that my work had actually paid me a small amount. It wasn't clear whether it was meant to be salary or severance, and I couldn't get through to anyone who might have been able to explain it, but it was enough to ease the relentless pressure, if only a little bit.
Lum
I
is
allowed myself a
messaging
few
you.
days to rest and recover from the chaos that the last week had been.
Hello. They are offering to call, and I'm afraid I have priorities. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna come back in like 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I know it's really abrupt, but it's been hard to get in touch with them because of signal and shit. So I gotta take it when I can. But I will be back in like a little while. And yeah, so check out for like in like 20 minutes time, I guess. Anyway, I hope you have a good time doing whatever you do now, Maria, and I hope I see you later. Bye bye.